On Eryndari, emotion is the most dangerous weapon, and the only thing that can save us all. The ritual chamber of the Spire of Helix vibrates with a deep, electric hum, like a swarm of steel wasps trapped in a bottle. Purple light throbs from a dozen core shards, each crystal hovering above the black stone floor, casting jagged shadows over the Eryndari nobles. Their silver skin flashes under the glow, golden eyes locked on the chamber's heart. A ring of fire roars there, flames snapping like whips, spitting sparks that carry the bite of molten iron. At its center stands Kalia Veyn, crimson hair blazing against her metallic skin, her jaw clenched as the Soulforge Ritual begins to choke her emotions into silence. Kalia's breath hitches, sharp as a blade, as the crystal's hum sharpens, scraping inside her skull. Her fingers flex, yearning for the dagger at her belt. But she stays rooted. Duty chains her, always has. The nobles chant, their voices a low rumble, weaving a rhythm that pulses like blood. Beyond the chamber's glass walls, Eryndari's crimson sky churns, dust twisting where the mirror fields, a wasteland of razor-sharp iron fragments, slice the horizon into fractured reflections, glinting like broken promises. A door crashes open with a hollow boom. "Stop it," a voice yells, rough and ragged. Jace Carver stumbles in, boots skidding on the polished floor. His black hair's a tangled mess, blue eyes wild with panic, scars on his left hand catching the purple light. He grips a cracked vial, green liquid dripping into his sleeve, sizzling faintly. The compound's unstable, it'll kill her. The chant stumbles, then dies. Nobles hiss, their golden eyes narrowing at the human who dares interrupt. Kalia's head snaps toward Jace, her chest tightening, a feeling she hasn't known in years. "Get out, Earther," she snarls, her voice like steel dragged over gravel. But it wavers, unsteady. The flames around her surge, heat stinging her face like a swarm of needles. No time. Jace charges forward, shoving past a noble who growls. In disgust, he's almost at the circle when the vial slips, shattering against the stone. Green vapor erupts, coiling like a serpent. It slams into Kalia before she can react, soaking into her silver skin. She gasps, legs buckling, and the flames roar higher, spitting embers that burn like acid. Her body shifts, curves softening, hips rounding unnaturally, a human-like fullness that makes her flush with embarrassment. Worse, her mind fractures. She sees towers crumbling, skies bleeding, voices howling in a tongue she doesn't know. Her vision burns, too clear, too raw. "What have you done?" Kalia's voice breaks, sharp and furious as she staggers from the fire. The core shards above pulse erratically, their hum now a piercing wail that grates the ears. Jace freezes, face drained of color, hands raised, as if to hold back a tidal wave. "Kalia, I didn't mean, look, I swear." Silence. A voice slices through, cold as deep space. Thrime Veyn steps from the shadows, his black metal skin swallowing the light, purple eyes glowing like fading stars. Kalia's brother looms over the chamber, his presence heavy as a dying sun. "You've defiled the Soulforge, human. You've changed her." His words cut, laced with venom, but a flicker of old grief haunts his gaze, buried beneath the ice. Murmurs ripple through the nobles, a rising storm of outrage. Kalia sways, her head spinning with alien visions, ruins, blood, a city lost to chaos. Her fingers brush a metal shard on the floor, and it twitches, bending like a living thing under her touch. She pulls back, pulse racing. The green vapor lingers, its sharp chemical stink clogging her throat. Jay steps closer, his voice low, urgent. "Kalia, listen. That compound, it's not just a mistake, it's enough." Thryme's fist crashes into a crystal pillar, the crack echoing like a snapped bone. The flames collapse into smoke, leaving only silence. He points at Jace, eyes narrowing to slits. "You'll answer for this, Earther. The law is clear." Kalia meets Jace's gaze, her chest tight with something unfamiliar, fear or worse. The metal shard twitches again, unseen by all but her. The Spire of Helix's council chamber smells of ozone and polished stone, a cold tang that clings to the back of Jace Carver's throat. Towering glass walls frame Eryndari's crimson sky, where dust swirls beyond the mirror fields, their iron shards glinting like a sea of broken blades. Inside, the air hums with tension. Kalia Veyn stands rigid before the Eryndari nobles, her silver skin catching the faint purple glow of a single core shard pulsing above. Her crimson hair falls loose, framing a face tight with fury. And something else, something new. Her body feels wrong, softer in ways that make her shift uncomfortably. The human-like curves from the Synapse Fusion compound still alien to her warrior's frame. Worse, her mind buzzes with fragments of visions, flashes of fire, screams, a city lost to chaos. Jace stands a few feet away, his scarred hand clenched, boots scuffing the floor. His blue eyes dart between Kalia and the nobles, who murmur like a storm brewing. The chemical stink of the spilled compound lingers on his sleeve, sharp and bitter, a reminder of his screw-up. He can still hear the crack of the vial shattering, still see Kalia's golden eyes widen as the green vapor hit her. "You've broken her," Sci-Fi Vault says, his voice a low growl that fills the chamber like smoke. He looms at the head of the council, black metal skin swallowing the light, purple eyes boring into Jace. The Soulforge was her shield. Now look at her, tainted by your reckless hands. His words cut, but a shadow flickers in his gaze. A buried wound Jace can't place. Kalia's fists tighten, her nails biting into her palms. "I'm not broken," she snaps, her voice like steel scraping rock, though it trembles at the edges. She feels the metal dagger at her belt hum faintly, twitching as if alive, and fights the urge to grab it. The visions surge again, blood-soaked, ruins, a woman's scream, and she grits her teeth, shoving them down. "This human's a fool, but I'm still me." "Are you?" Thrime steps closer, his boots clicking on the stone. "Your body betrays you. Your mind's unraveling. I've seen what happens when emotions run free." His voice dips, almost a whisper. "I lost her to it." Jace bristles, stepping forward. "Back off, Thrime. It was an accident. I was trying to save her." His heart pounds, guilt twisting like a knife. Elias is out there, hooked to machines. Because of Jace's last mistake, he can't fail again. The compound wasn't supposed to. Enough excuses. A noble cuts in, her silver braid glinting as she rises. Her voice is sharp, like glass breaking. "The law is clear, Earther. You've altered a daughter of Eryndari. You're her guardian now, bound by mind and soul." Kalia's head snaps toward the noble, her eyes flaring. "I don't need a keeper." But as she speaks, a jolt hits her. A stab of fear, not hers. She glances at Jace, startled. His panic seeps through her, raw and heavy like oil pooling in her chest. The link between them, born of the compound, is real. Her stomach churns. Jace feels it too. A flicker of Kalia's rage brushing his mind, sharp as a razor. He stumbles, catching himself on a pillar. "What the hell was that?" he mutters, voice low, almost lost in the chamber's hum. His gaze locks on Kalia, searching, her face for answers. Thryme's eyes narrow, catching the exchange. "The guardian bond," he says, his tone dripping with disgust. "Your thoughts bleed into hers, human, and hers into you. A curse for your crime." He turns to Kalia, softer now, almost pleading. "Sister, you can't trust this. Let us cleanse you." Kalia hesitates, her fingers brushing the dagger again. It twitches harder, bending slightly under her touch. Another vision flashes, a hand holding the same dagger, stained red. She pulls back, her breath catching. "No," she says, voice steadying. "I'll handle this myself." A new voice breaks the silence, sharp and human. "Jace, you idiot, what is you do now?" Mira, a blonde engineer with a clipboard and a smirk, leans in the doorway, her eyes scanning the room. She pauses on Thrime, her smirk fading. "This guy's hiding something. I bet my toolkit on it." Thryme's gaze hardens, but before he can speak, a core shard above pulses brighter, its hum spiking into a scream. The medical bay of the Earther outpost hums with a sterile buzz, like a distant engine caught in a loop. Cold, White light spills from panels overhead, glinting off steel walls and the glass tube where Jace Carver lies, his chest rising slow and mechanical. Tubes snake from his arms, pulsing faintly with blue fluid, and the air smells sharp, of antiseptic and something sour, like rust left too long in the rain. Jace stands by the tube, his scarred hand pressed against the glass, his blue eyes tracing his brother's pale face. Elias's brown hair sticks to his forehead, damp with sweat, and his closed lids twitch as if chasing a dream. Jace's breath fogs the glass, each exhale heavy with guilt. He can still hear Elias's voice from 2 years back, sharp and stubborn. "Your tech's poisoning this planet, Jace. We can't keep pretending it's fine." That was before the air filter test went wrong, before Elias volunteered and ended, up here, hooked to machines powered by core shards. Jace's fingers curl into a fist, the scars on his knuckles whitening. "I'm fixing it, Eli," he mutters, voice rough, barely above a whisper. "I swear." A soft clank breaks the silence. Kalia Veyn steps into the bay, her silver skin catching the light like liquid metal. Her crimson hair sways, and her golden eyes narrow, scanning the room with a warrior's caution. The human-like curves from the Synapse Fusion compound make her armor sit wrong, chafing her hips, and she shifts, irritated. "You sneak off to mourn Eartha," she says, her voice low, like gravel underfoot. But there's a crack in it, something softer, unbidden. Jace stiffens, turning to face her. "I'm not mourning. He's alive." His words snap out, sharper than he means. But Kalia's presence paws at him, a tug in his chest he can't explain. It's her anger seeping through their new link, hot and jagged like a blade. He rubs his temple, trying to shake it off. "Why are you here, Kalia? Checking if I'll bolt?" Kalia's jaw tightens, her fingers brushing the dagger at her belt. It hums faintly, bending ever so slightly, as she pulls her hand back, startled. "I don't trust you," she says, stepping closer, her boots clicking on the floor. "Your kind breaks things, people, worlds, me." But as she speaks, a wave of Jace's grief hits her, heavy as a stone sinking in her gut. She freezes, eyes widening. "What is that?" Before Jace can answer, a low voice cuts in. "It's him, isn't it? Torin, an Eryndari medic, with pale silver skin and a voice like a distant storm, steps from behind a console. His golden eyes flick to Elias, then back to Kalia. The human's brother, tied to their machines, like our people after the core shards take too much. He pauses, his gaze darkening. "My sister, she's a husk now. Harvesting those crystals tore her soul apart, left her hollow like a cave with no echo." Kalia's breath catches, her hand hovering near the dagger again. Jace glances at Torin, his gut twisting. "What do you mean, too much?" he asks, voice tight, stepping toward the medic. "What's happening to your people?" Torin opens his mouth, but a core shard, embedded in the console, pulses, its purple light flaring like a heartbeat gone wrong. The hum spikes, shrill and grating, and Elias's monitors beep wildly. Jace spins to the tube, his heart lurching. "Eli!" he shouts, slamming his fist on the glass. Kalia grabs his arm, her grip iron strong, but her eyes are on the core shard, wide with something like fear. The dagger at her belt rattles, bending toward the crystal. The marketplace outside the Spire of Helix buzzes with life, a chaotic hum of voices and clinking metal. Stalls line the dusty streets, their canopies woven from shimmering Eryndari thread, catching the crimson glow of Arendor's sky. The air carries the sharp tang of roasted metal-spiced mushrooms, mingling with the faint chemical bite of core shard lanterns swinging above. Children dart through the crowd, their silver skin flashing as they etch patterns into small mirrors. A game that echoes the jagged mirror fields beyond the city. Jace Carver weaves through the throng, his boots kicking up red dust, his scarred hand tugging at his jacket. The weight of the Guardian bond sits heavy in his chest, like a stone he can't shift. Kalia Veyn strides beside him, her crimson hair catching every stray beam of light, her golden eyes scanning the crowd with a hunter's focus. The Synapse Fusion compound has left her changed, her hips fuller, her frame softer in ways that make her armor chafe. A constant irritation she hides behind a scowl. Worse, Her mind hums with echoes not her own. Last night she dreamed of a green field under a blue sky, a boy's laughter ringing clear. Jace's memory, not hers. Her fingers brush the dagger at her belt, its metal twitching faintly, and she pulls back, wary. The bond is growing, and it scares her more than she'll admit. They're here for a ceremonial escort, a public show to prove the bond hasn't broken her. The noble's eyes follow them, sharp as blades, and Jace feels every stare. This is a circus, he mutters, voice rough, his earther slang slipping through. Why do we have to parade like this? He glances at Kalia, catching the tension in her jaw, and feels a flicker of her frustration, harsh and prickly, through their link. It's stronger now, not just emotions but images, fleeting and vivid. Kalia's gaze flicks to him, her voice low, like gravel underfoot. Because they want to see if I'm still theirs. She steps closer, her armor clinking softly, and lowers, her voice further. You put this curse in me, Jace. You think I'd choose to feel you in my head? Her words bite, but a shadow of doubt lingers in her eyes. She felt his grief last night, raw and heavy, a boy calling out in a sterile room. Elias, she knows now. Jace stops short, dust swirling around his boots. I didn't ask for this either, he snaps, his blue eyes flashing. I'm trying to save my brother, not play alien babysitter. His chest tightens, Elias's face swimming up, pale, trapped in that tube. The guilt twists harder, and he knows Kalia feels it too, because her scowl softens for a split second before hardening again. A commotion stirs nearby. Vayn emerges from the crowd, his black metal skin gleaming, purple eyes cutting through the haze like lasers. The market falls quiet, the hum of voices fading to a murmur. He stops before them, towering and unyielding, his presence heavy as a collapsing star. You wear your shame well, sister, he says, his voice a cold rumble, each word precise. But this bond taints you. I've seen what happens when hearts run wild. His gaze shifts to Jace, a flicker of something raw. Grief, maybe, passing over his face. My wife burned for it. Kalia's fingers curl, the dagger humming louder now, its blade bending slightly. She fights a vision, her hands, not hers, wielding that same dagger, blood dripping. I'm no one's ruin, she says, her voice steady but sharp, like a blade drawn slow. Not yours, not his. Jay steps between them, his pulse racing. Lay off her, Thrime. You want someone to blame? I'm right here. He feels Kalia's anger spike through the link, mingled with something new, defiance, aimed at her brother. It steadies him somehow. Before Thrime can respond, a woman's voice cuts through, sharp and human. Jace, you're digging a deeper hole. Mira, the blonde engineer, pushes forward, her clipboard tucked under one arm, her green eyes scanning Thrime with a smirk. Those core shards in the Spire's vault, numbers don't add up. Someone's hoarding them. She leans closer, voice dropping. And I bet it's tall, dark, and brooding here. Thryme's eyes narrow to slits, but he says nothing, turning away with a slow, deliberate step. The crowd parts for him, their whispers rising like static. Kalia watches him go, her dagger still humming, and feels another vision creep in. A shadow moving through the mirror fields, carrying a glowing shard. The mirror fields stretch beyond the city's edge, a jagged sea of iron shards that slice the crimson sky into fractured reflections. Each shard hums faintly, vibrating with the wind's low moan, like a chorus of ghosts trapped in metal. The air tastes sharp, heavy with dust and the metallic bite of ozone, and the ground crunches under Jace Carver's boots as he follows Kalia Veyn deeper into the wasteland. His jacket flaps in the gusts, his scarred hand shielding his eyes from the glare. The Spire of Helix looms behind them, its glass peak catching the last rays of Eryndari's bloated sun. But out here, the world feels raw, untamed, ready to cut. Kalia moves like a predator, her silver skin glinting, her crimson hair whipping in the wind. The Synapse Fusion compound's changes still haunt her, her hips fuller, her armor pinching in ways that spark a quiet fury. Worse, her mind carries Jace's echoes, last night's dream of a boy, laughing under a blue sky, so vivid it felt like her own memory. Her golden eyes scan the shards, searching for a quiet spot to test her new strength, away from the nobles' prying stares. Her dagger hums at her belt, its blade bending slightly when her fingers graze it, and each twitch pulls a vision, flashes of blood, a shadowed hand, a scream she can't place. Jace trails a step behind, his breath uneven, the guardian bond tugging at his chest. He feels Kalia's anger, sharp as a needle, pricking his thoughts. "This place gives me the creeps," he says, his voice rough, tinged with earther grit. "All these mirrors, what's the point?" He kicks a shard, and it rings softly, the sound fading into the wind. Her frustration spikes through the link, hot and restless, and he grimaces, rubbing his temple. "You gotta tell me why we're out here, or is this just a cynic death trap?" Kalia stops, turning to face him, her boots grinding dust into the ground. "I need to know what I am now," she says, her voice like gravel scraped raw. Each word deliberate. "Your poison did this to me, Jace. I won't let it control me." She steps closer, her armor clinking, and points at a towering shard, its surface reflecting her face. Distorted, wild, with eyes that aren't hers. "That's not me," she whispers, almost to herself, and the dagger hums louder, bending toward the shard. Jace's jaw tightens, guilt twisting in his gut. Elias's face flashes in his mind, pale, trapped in that tube, and he wonders if his brother felt this trapped too. "I didn't mean to screw you up," he says, softer now, his hands clenching. "But you're not the only one stuck, Kalia. I feel you in here." He taps his chest, his blue eyes meeting hers, searching for something. Trust, maybe. The bond pulses, carrying a flicker of her fear, cold and slippery, and he stumbles, catching himself on a shard. Its edge bites his palm, drawing a thin line of blood. Kalia's eyes widen, sensing his pain like a jolt through her veins. She grabs his wrist, her grip firm but not cruel, and pulls his hand away. "Careful, Eartha," she mutters, her voice softening for a moment. Then a gust howls through the mirror fields, and the shards tremble, their hum rising to a wail. Kalia freezes, her dagger leaping from its sheath, spinning in the air before her. She doesn't touch it, it moves on its own, slicing a smaller shard clean in two. The cut piece falls, shattering with a sound like glass breaking underwater. Jace steps back, his heart pounding. "Holy hell, Kalia. What was that?" His voice cracks, half awe, half fear, as the dagger hovers, glinting in the crimson light. He feels her shock through the link, sharp and electric, mingling with his own. Before Kalia can answer, a figure steps from behind a towering shard, silver skin, pale as moonlight. Torin, the Eryndari medic, his face grim, his storm-deep voice cutting through the wind. "You're not the only one changing," he says, eyes on Kalia's dagger, then shifting to Jace. "My sister, she's worse now. The core shards take more than they give. I've seen it." He pauses, his gaze darkening. "And I've seen shadows moving in the spire, carrying crystals they shouldn't." Kalia's dagger drops, clattering to the ground. Another vision hits her, a shadow in the mirror fields, holding a glowing core shard, its light pulsing like a heartbeat gone wrong. The temple of the core looms at the Spire of Helix's base, its walls carved from black stone that drinks in Eryndari's crimson light. Inside, the air hangs thick with incense, a bitter smoke that coils like ghosts around rows of core shards, glowing faintly purple. Their hum fills the space, a steady pulse that vibrates through the floor, rattling the small mirrors etched with prayers lining the walls. Worshippers kneel in silence, silver-skinned Eryndari with golden eyes fixed on the altar, where a massive core shard pulses brighter, its light casting jagged shadows like cracks in reality. Jace Carver stands near the back, his boots scuffing the stone, his scarred hand twitching at his side. The bond with Kalia buzzes in his chest, faint but persistent, a thread he can't cut. Kalia Veyn kneels a few rows ahead, her crimson hair spilling over her shoulders, her armor gleaming under the shard light. The Synapse Fusion compounds, changes still itch at her, her fuller hips, her softened frame, but she's learning to ignore them. Her golden eyes trace the altar, but her mind drifts to the mirror fields, to the shadow she saw clutching a core shard. Her dagger rests at her belt, quiet now, Though its metal hums when her thoughts stray too far, she feels Jace's unease through their link, a restless itch that makes her jaw clench. They're here to blend in, to listen, but the air feels wrong, too still, too heavy. A low chant rises from the worshippers, their voices weaving a rhythm that presses against Jace's ears. He shifts, his jacket rustling, and mutters under his breath, "This place is a damn mausoleum." His blue eyes dart to the core shards, their glow reminding him of Elias's machines. Too similar, too alive. He remembers Torin's words about the crystals tearing souls apart, leaving husks behind, and his stomach twists. Is that what's keeping Elias breathing? He pushes the thought down, but it lingers, sharp as a splinter. Kalia rises, her boots clicking softly as she moves toward the altar, her silver skin catching every flicker of light. She stops before the massive core shard, her fingers hovering near it, and a vision strikes. Faint at first, then clear. An ancient Eryndari network, minds linked through glowing crystals, pulsing as one until it shattered in chaos. The psyche. Collapse. Her breath catches, the memory not hers but theirs, buried in the shard. She pulls back, heart pounding, and feels Jace's curiosity spike through the link, bright and insistent. "You okay?" Jace's voice cuts through, low and rough, as he steps up beside her. His hand brushes her arm, an instinct he regrets when her glare snaps to him, sharp as a blade. "Something's off with these things," he says, nodding. "At the core shard, they're not just power cells, are they?" His earther grit slits out, but there's a weight to his words, a question he's afraid to answer. Kalia's voice drops, gravelly and tight. "They hold more than energy," she says, her eyes locked on the crystal. "Memories, minds. The old ones used them to bind us until it broke." She pauses, her dagger humming faintly, and adds, "Someone's using them again." Her words hang between them, heavy as the incense smoke. A shadow shifts near the altar, silver skin pale as moonlight. Torin steps forward, his storm-deep voice cutting through the chant. "You're right," he says, his golden eyes dark with something like dread. "My sister, she's gone now. The core shards took her last spark yesterday, left her empty, like a shell." He glances at the worshippers, then lowers his voice. "They're harvesting more every day, too many." Jace's fists clench, his scarred knuckles whitening. "Harvesting for what?" he asks, stepping closer, his voice tight with anger. Elias's face flashes in his mind, pale, hooked to those machines, and he feels a cold dread settle in. "Who's doing this, Torin? Give me a name." Before Torin can answer, Mira's sharp voice rings out from the temple's entrance. "Jace, you're gonna want to see this." The blonde engineer strides in, her clipboard clutched tight, green eyes blazing. She shoves a datapad at him, its screen glowing with numbers. Elias's life support, it's tied to a core shard batch that's gone missing. And guess who's moving them? Kalia's dagger leaps an inch from its sheath, humming louder, as a figure steps from the altar's shadow. Kalia Veyn, his purple eyes glinting with cold purpose. The mirror fields glitter under Eryndari's crimson dusk, their iron shards catching the fading light like 1,000 shattered eyes. Wind howls through the expanse, a low wail that rattles the jagged edges, sending faint vibrations into the dusty ground. Jace Carver stands among them, his boots crunching on the brittle soil, his scarred hand gripping a shard's edge until it bites into his palm. Blood trickles, warm and sticky, but he barely notices. The bond with Kalia thrums in his chest, stronger now, carrying her presence like a second heartbeat. His blue eyes stare into the shard, but it's his own face he sees, haggard, shadowed by guilt over Elias, trapped in that tube, tethered to stolen core shards. Kalia Veyn paces a few steps away, her silver skin gleaming faintly, her crimson hair whipping in the gusts. The Synapse Fusion compounds changes, her fuller hips, her softer frame, still chafe under her armor, a quiet irritation she buries under focus. Her golden eyes fix on a towering shard, its surface bending her reflection into something wild, untamed, a version of herself she fears. Her dagger hums at her belt, bending when her thoughts darken, and she fights a vision. Jace's hands, not hers, fumbling with a machine that sparks and dies, his memory bleeding through their link. She stops pacing, her boots grinding dust, and turns to him, her voice low, like gravel scraped raw. "You're loud in my head, Earther, too loud." Jace flinches, dropping the shard with a soft clink. "Yeah, well, you're no picnic either," he says, his voice rough, laced with Earther grit. He wipes the blood on his jacket, feeling her fear, a cold, slippery thing, slide through the bond. It's not just emotions now. It's pictures, sounds, like a radio he can't tune out. "I saw you in that Soulforge Ritual, Kalia. The fire, the chanting. It's stuck in here." He taps his temple, his jaw tight, and steps closer. "We're in this mess together, whether you like it or not." Kalia's fingers curl, her dagger twitching harder, bending toward him. "I don't want your pain," she snaps, her words sharp as a blade drawn slow. "Or your brother's face every time I close my eyes." She feels Elias's echo through Jace, faint, pleading, and it shakes her, a crack in her warrior's resolve. Another vision hits, her own hands carving a mirror with a prayer, then shattering it in rage. She blinks it away, her breath uneven. "This bond, I won't let it swallow me." Jace's chest tightens, her defiance surging through him, steadying his own faltering will. "Then fight it," he says, softer now, his blue eyes locking on hers. "But we've got bigger problems. Tauren's sister, the core shards. What's Thrime doing with them?" He feels Elias again, a whisper in his mind, "Fix it, Jace." And his fists clench, knuckles whitening. "I can't lose him, Kalia. Not after everything." A rustle breaks the wind's howl. Mira steps from behind a shard, her blonde hair catching the crimson light, her green eyes sharp with purpose. She holds a datapad, its screen glowing faintly, and her voice cuts through, crisp and human. "Got something for you, Jace," she says, tossing him the pad. Elias's shard batch. It's linked to a signal in the spire. Moving fast, too. She glances at Kalia, smirking faintly. "Your brother's got sticky fingers, Red, and he's not subtle." Kalia's gaze hardens, her dagger leaping an inch from its sheath, humming louder. "Thrime wouldn't dare," she says, but doubt creeps into her gravelly tone, a crack she can't hide. She feels Jace's anger flare through the link, hot and jagged, and it fuels her own. Her mind flashes again, Jace's hands, not hers, holding a broken vial, green vapor spilling out. She shakes it off, stepping toward Mira. "Show me." Mira taps the pad, pulling up a map dotted with pulsing signals. "Right here," she says, pointing to a cluster near the spire's peak. "Core shards, dozens of them, heading somewhere. They shouldn't." Her smirk fades, her voice dropping. "If Elias is tied to this, Jace, we're running out of time." The wind picks up, shards trembling, their hum rising to a sharp whine. Kalia's dagger spins free, hovering before her, and a new vision strikes, a shadow in the mirror fields, clutching a core shard that pulses like a dying star. The mirror fields howl as a metal storm brews, Eryndari's crimson sky darkening with swirling dust that stings like needles on exposed skin. Iron shards tremble in the wind, their edges singing a high, keening wail that cuts through the air like a blade. Jace Carver crouches behind a jagged slab, his scarred hand gripping the datapad Mira gave him, its screen flickering with signals from stolen core shards. His jacket snaps in the gusts, his blue eyes squinting against the red haze, and his chest buzzes with Kalia's presence, her tension, her resolve, flowing through their bond like a live wire. He feels her close, a shadow in his mind, and it steadies him. Kalia Veyn stands a few yards away, her silver skin glinting faintly, her crimson hair lashing like a flame in the storm. The Synapse Fusion compounds changes. Her fuller curves make her armor pinch, but she ignores it, her golden eyes locked on a towering shard, reflecting her distorted face. Her dagger hovers before her, spinning slowly, its hum a low growl beneath the wind's shriek. She senses Jace's fear through the link, sharp and cold, and it mingles with her own, a dread she won't name. Her mind flashes to the vision, a shadow with a pulsing core shard, moving through these fields. She grips the air, and the dagger spins faster, ready to strike. Jace peers at the datapad, his voice rough as he shouts over the storm. "They're close, Kalia. The signals moving fast, heading north. His earther grit cuts through the noise, but his heart pounds. Elias's face swimming up, pale, tethered to those crystals. He feels a faint echo through the bond, a whisper, "Jace, hurry," and his jaw clenches, guilt driving him forward. "We've got to stop this." Kalia's head snaps toward him, her voice like gravel dragged over stone. "Then move, Earther." She steps out, her boots crunching dust, and the dagger slashes forward, slicing a shard in two with a sound like breaking ice. The pieces fall, glinting in the storm, and she feels Jace's urgency surge through her, hot and relentless. It fuels her, pushing her toward the signal source. A shadow looms ahead, black metal skin swallowing the crimson light. Sci-Fi Vayn emerges from the haze, his purple eyes glowing like twin beacons, a core shard clutched in his fist, its pulse erratic and bright. The wind bends around him, his presence heavy as a collapsing star, and his voice rumbles, cold and precise. "You're too late, sister. This is bigger than you." He lifts the shard, its light flaring, and the storm's wail sharpens, shards trembling harder. Kalia's dagger lunges, stopping inches from his throat, quivering in the air. "What are you doing, Thrime?" she demands, her words sharp, her golden eyes blazing. She feels Jace's anger through the link, jagged and raw, and it steadies her grip. A vision hits, her hands, not hers, holding that same shard, its light, consuming everything. She shakes it off, her breath ragged. "You're killing them. Our people." Thryme's gaze flicks to Jace, his lip curling. "Your human pet's blind, Kalia. These shards, they'll save us." His voice dips, a crack of grief breaking through. "I won't lose more to chaos." He steps forward, the core shard, pulsing faster, and the bond between Jace and Kalia flares. Her rage, his defiance, merging into a single fire. Jace rises, dust swirling around him, his voice a snarl. "Save us." "You're draining them dry." He charges, fist raised, but Thrime moves faster, slamming him back with a hand like iron. Jace hits a shard, grunting as it cuts his arm, blood dripping onto the ground. Kalia feels the pain. A stab in her own flesh, and her dagger flies, pinning Thryme's cloak to a shard with a thunk. Thrime rips free, his eyes narrowing, and lifts the core shard high. "You'll see," he says, his voice a low growl, and the crystal flares blindingly bright. Shadows shift behind him. Eryndari figures, carrying more shards, vanishing into the storm. A figure stumbles from the dust, silver skin, pale. Tauren, his storm-deep voice hoarse, shouts, "He's taking the core. It's too late." Kalia's dagger drops, her hands shaking as the wind carries a faint signal. A pulse from Elias's machines, fading fast. The Merrifield shimmer under Erendar's blood-red sky, their iron shards glinting like shattered stars as Jace Carver and Kalia Veyn slip through the jagged maze. The air crackles with static, heavy with the metallic tang of an approaching storm, and the ground trembles faintly, a low rumble rolling beneath their boots. Jace's scarred hand grips a stolen pulse blaster, its hum a steady buzz against his palm, his blue eyes scanning the shadows for Thryme's trail. The bond with Kalia pulses in his chest, sharper now, her focus flowing through him like a current, steady, fierce, unyielding. His jacket flaps in the wind, dust stinging his face, but he pushes forward, driven by a fading echo. Elias's voice, weak and distant, calling through the link. Kalia moves ahead, her silver skin catching flickers of crimson light, her crimson hair streaming like a banner. The Synapse Fusion compounds changes, her fuller hips shift under her armor. But she's past caring, her golden eyes locked on a faint glow ahead. Her dagger hovers at her side, spinning slowly, its hum a growl that matches the storm's rising wail. She feels Jace's desperation through their bond, raw and urgent, and it fuels her steps. Her mind flashes, a vision of Thrime, his black metal form cradling a core shard, its light pulsing like a dying heart. She shakes it off, her boots crunching dust, and points toward a cluster of shards. "There," she says, her voice like gravel scraped raw, cutting through the wind. "He's close." Jace nods, his breath uneven, and adjusts the blaster. "Let's end this," he says, his earther grit rough and resolute. He feels her strength through the link, a steel thread holding him together, and it steadies his shaking hand. They weave through the shards, their reflections twisting Jace's haggard face, Kalia's wild eyes, until they reach a clearing. Sci-Fi Vault stands at its center, his purple eyes glowing, a massive core shard clutched in both hands. Its light flares, bathing the mirror fields in violet, and the shards around him hum louder, vibrating like tuning forks gone wild. Kalia's dagger shoots forward, stopping inches from Sci-Fi's chest, quivering in the air. "Stop this, brother," she demands, her words sharp, her golden eyes blazing with fury. She steps closer, armor clinking, and the bond flares. Jace's anger merging with hers, a fire she can't quench. "You're killing them, our people, for what?" Her voice cracks, a vision surging. Cities burning, screams echoing. The psyche collapse unfolding in vivid streaks of red and black. Sci-Fi's gaze locks on her, his black metal skin swallowing the light, his voice a cold rumble. "For order, Kalia. For survival." He lifts the core shard, higher, its pulse quickening, and the shards around them flare, reflecting 1,000 fractured images. Eryndari falling, their silver skin dulling, their golden eyes going blank. "I saw her die in chaos," he says, his tone dipping, raw with old pain. "My wife, her mind broke under the weight. I won't let it happen again." Jace's jaw tightens, his blaster rising. "You're not saving anyone," he snarls, stepping beside Kalia, his voice thick with rage. Elias's echo grows fainter, a thread slipping away, and his heart pounds. "Those shards, they're draining them dry, and you know it." He feels Kalia's resolve through the link, solid as stone, and it pushes him forward. "Drop it, Sci-Fi, or I'll make you." Sci-Fi's lip curls, his purple eyes narrowing. "You're a fool, human," he says, his words icy, precise. He shifts the core shard, and its light explodes outward, a wave of energy that slams Jace back, knocking the blaster from his hand. Kalia staggers but holds her ground, her dagger spinning faster, slashing at the air. She grits her teeth, reaching through the bond, not words, but will, and feels Jace respond, his defiance surging back to her. Kalia thrusts her hands forward, silver skin glowing faintly, and the core shard's network answers. The mirror fields ignite, shards reflecting a flood of memories. Burning cities, weeping voices, the psyche collapse, painted across the sky in streaks of violet and red. The Eryndari beyond the fields gasp, their chants rising, a tide of awakening, breaking Sci-Fi's silence. A voice crackles through the storm, sharp and human. "Jace, it's working," Mira shouts, her blonde hair whipping as she emerges from the dust, data pad in hand. The signals spiking. Elias's shard, it's still alive. Sci-Fi's grip falters, his eyes widening as the core shard pulses wildly in his hands. The mirror fields blaze with violet light, the core shard in Sci-Fi Vayn's hands pulsing like a frantic heart under Eryndari's crimson sky. Iron shards hum and tremble, their reflections casting fractured echoes of the psyche collapse across the wasteland. Cities aflame, silver-skinned figures crumbling, screams swallowed by chaos. The air crackles, thick with dust and the sharp sting of ozone, as Jace Carver scrambles to his feet, his scarred hand snatching the fallen pulse blaster from the ground. His blue eyes burn with desperation, the bond with Kalia roaring in his chest, her fury, her strength, a lifeline pulling him upright. Elias's echo flickers through his mind, faint and fading. "Jace, fix it." And his breath catches, raw with fear. Kalia Veyn stands firm, her silver skin glowing faintly, her crimson hair whipping in the storm's howl. The Synapse Fusion compounds, changes, her fuller curves, shift under her armor, but she channels the discomfort into focus. Her golden eyes locked on Sci-Fi. Her dagger spins before her, a blur of metal slicing the air, its hum a fierce growl that matches her resolve. She feels Jace's pain through their link, a deep ache that mirrors her own, and it steadies her trembling hands. The mirror fields, visions pulse stronger, The Eryndari beyond the fields rising, their voices a swelling tide against Thryne's control. Thryne's black metal form looms, his purple eyes narrowing as the core shard flares brighter, its light searing the ground. "You can't stop this," he says, his voice a cold rumble, each word heavy with conviction. "Order demands sacrifice. I'll save them from themselves." His gaze shifts to Kalia, softening for a fleeting moment. From her fate, the Jew shard's pulse quickens, and the shards around him flare, reflecting a woman's face, silver skin, golden eyes, screaming as her mind unravels. Jace's grip tightens on the blaster, his voice a snarl cutting through the wind. "You're not saving anyone, Thryne. You're killing them." His heart pounds, Elias's echo slipping further, a thread about to snap. He feels Kalia's will through the bond, unyielding as steel, and steps forward, raising the weapon. "Drop it or I shoot." His finger hovers over the trigger, but doubt claws at him. Elias's life hangs on those shards. His jaw clenches, sweat beading on his brow. Kalia's dagger lunges, pinning Thryne's arm to a shard with a thunk, drawing a hiss from his lips. "Enough, brother," she says, her gravelly voice breaking with rage. She strides closer, boots crunching, and grabs his wrist, forcing the core shard upward. "You don't get to choose their souls." Her mind flashes, Elias's face, pale and pleading, Jace's memory, and it shakes her, a crack in her armor. She feels his guilt, heavy as stone, and it fuels her grip. Thryne wrenches free, his strength shoving Kalia back. But the shard wavers in his hand, its light flickering. "You're blind, both of you," he growls, his purple eyes blazing. "Chaos took her. I won't let it take us." He swings the shard down, aiming to smash it into the ground. But Jace fires. A pulse of blue energy slams into Thryne's shoulder, knocking him off balance. The shard falls, rolling across the dust, its glow dimming. Jace drops the blaster, his hands shaking, and stumbles toward the shard. "Elias, he's tied to this," he says, voice cracking, his blue eyes wide with panic. He kneels, fingers brushing the crystal, and feels a jolt. Elias's laugh, bright and clear, then his voice, soft and fading. "Fix it, Jace, please." His chest tightens, guilt and love warring inside him. "If I break it, he's gone," he whispers, looking up at Kalia, his face pale. "But if I don't?" Kalia kneels beside him, her silver hand resting on his, her golden eyes steady despite the storm. "You choose him or them," she says, her voice low, raw with understanding. She feels his torment through the link, a knife twisting in her own gut, and her dagger hovers, quivering, ready to act. "I'll back you, Uther." A shadow moves through the dust. Tauren, his pale silver skin streaked with dirt, his storm-deep voice hoarse. "They're coming. His guards," he shouts, pointing to figures emerging from the haze, carrying more core shards, their lights pulsing in sync. Thryne rises, clutching his shoulder, his purple eyes fixed on the fallen shard, a cold smile breaking through his pain. Jace's hand trembles over the core shard, Elias's echo fading to silence as the storm roars louder around them. The mirror fields quake under Eryndari's crimson sky, the storm's howl peaking as dust swirls like a living shroud around Jace Carver and Kalia Veyn. The core shard lies between them, its violet glow pulsing weakly, a heartbeat on the edge of silence. Iron shards hum and clatter, their reflections fractured, showing glimpses of the psyche collapse, still burning in the air. Cities lost, voices silenced. Jace kneels over the shard, his scarred hand trembling, his blue eyes locked on its fading light. Elias's echo is gone now, a void where his brother's voice once was, and his chest aches with a grief he can't name. The bond with Kalia surges, her strength flowing into him, steady as steel, and he feels her beside him, a shadow he can't shake. Kalia's silver skin glints, her crimson hair wild in the wind, her golden eyes fixed on Jace. The Synapse Fusion compounds changes, her fuller curves fade into the background, her focus absolute, Her dagger hovers above the shard, spinning fast, its hum a fierce snarl that cuts through the storm. She feels Jace's loss through their link, a hollow stab that mirrors her own fears, and her jaw clenches, resolve hardening. "Do it, Uther," she says, her voice like gravel dragged over stone, raw but firm. "End it. For them." Her silver hand grips his, guiding it to the shard, their pulses sinking through the bond. Jace's breath hitches, his fingers brushing the core shard's surface. A memory floods in, Elias grinning under a blue earth sky saying, "Fix it, Jace," and tears sting his eyes. "I'm sorry, Eli," he whispers, his voice cracking, rough with earther grit. He slams his hand down, shattering the shard with a sound like glass exploding underwater. Violet light erupts, a shockwave ripping through the mirror fields, and the network collapses, shards dimming, reflections fading, the storm's wail dropping to a mournful sigh. Kalia Veyn staggers, his black metal skin streaked with dust, his purple eyes wide with fury and disbelief. "No," he roars, his voice a cold thunder, lunging for the broken pieces. The guards behind him falter, their core shards flickering out, their silver forms, dropping weapons as the bond's hold snaps. Kalia's dagger flies, pinning Thryme's hand to the ground with a thunk, drawing a snarl from his lips. "It's over, brother," she says, stepping forward, her golden eyes blazing. "You don't own their souls." Jace rises, his legs unsteady, but the bond with Kalia flares brighter, a fusion beyond words. Light spills from their joined hands, silver and gold weaving together, their skin shimmering as it shifts. His scars fading, her curves blending into a new form. Their eyes meet, now a single hue, blue-gold, and their voices merge, a harmonic hum that echoes through the fields. "We're one," they say together, the sound both human and alien, a hybrid born of will and sacrifice. Thryme pulls free, clutching a shattered core shard, its light dimming in his fist. "You've ruined us," he growls, his purple eyes glinting with cold defiance. He stumbles back, the storm swallowing his form, but a final memory flares from the shard. His wife, silver-skinned, screaming as her mind unravels, her last words a plea he couldn't answer. He freezes, his shoulders slumping, and the shard falls, cracking into dust. Torin steps from the haze, his pale silver skin streaked with grime, his storm-deep voice hoarse but steady. "Ah, they're free," he says, gesturing to the Eryndari beyond the fields, their golden eyes lifting, voices rising in a chant of release. "The harvest's done." He kneels by the broken shard, his hands shaking, and whispers, "For my sister." Mira emerges, her blonde hair tangled, green eyes wide as she stares at Jace and Kalia's fused form. "Holy crap, you two," she says, her voice sharp with awe, clutching her datapad. "Elias." He's flatlining Jace, the signal's gone. Her words hit like a punch, but Jace Kalia's hybrid gaze remains steady, a new strength holding them together. The storm quiets, shards stilling, as a distant rumble echoes from the spire. A sound of glass cracking, something waking in its depths. The Earther Outpost's medical bay hums with a soft, steady buzz, its sterile white walls reflecting the faint glow of machines lining the room. The air smells sharp, of antiseptic and warm metal, caught by the faint rustle of cooling vents overhead. Jace Kalia stands by the glass tube where Elias Carver lies, their hybrid form shimmering under the light. Their skin blends silver and human tones, flecked with metallic glints, and their blue-gold eyes, singular now, shared, gaze down at the still figure. Tubes pulse with blue fluid, slower now, and Elias's brown hair clings to his pale forehead, his chest rising faintly with each mechanical breath. The bond that forged them pulses strong, a harmony of two minds, but a hollow ache lingers. Jace's grief, Kalia's resolve, woven together. Their hybrid voice speaks, a dual tone that echoes both Jace's rough earther grit and Kalia's gravelly steel. He's awake, they say, their silver hand resting on the glass, feeling the faint warmth beneath. Elias's eyes flutter open, green and clouded, staring up without recognition. The core shard networks collapse, sever the link that kept him alive. But something, maybe luck, maybe will, pulled him back. Jace Kalia feels a flicker through their bond, a distant echo of Elias's presence, not through machines, but through blood, a tie that endures. Mira leans against a console, nearby, her blonde hair tangled, green eyes flicking between her datapad and the hybrid. He's stable somehow, she says, her voice sharp with a mix of relief and disbelief. She taps the screen, its glow casting shadows on her face. No shard signal left to track. You two broke it all. Nice work, by the way. Her smirk fades as she glances at Elias. Softer now. He doesn't know you, Jace. Not anymore. Jace Kalia's gaze shifts to her, their blue-gold eyes steady. We feelin', they say. The dual voice resonating through the bay. Calm but heavy. Not memory. Something deeper. Their silver hand lifts, fingers flexing, and a nearby tool, a wrench, twitches, hovering an inch off the table. Kalia's power, Jace's will, fused into something new. They lower their hand, the wrench clattering back, and turn to Elias. He's enough. Footsteps echo from the doorway, slow and deliberate. Torrin steps in, his pale silver skin streaked with dust, his storm-deep voice carrying a quiet strength. The fields are alive again, he says, his golden eyes meeting theirs. They're giving core shards freely now. No more harvest, no more husks. He holds up a small mirror, its surface etched with a swirling pattern, and sets it on the console. For my sister. A new right, memory, not control. His gaze lingers on Elias, a shadow of grief passing over his face, then lifts to Jace Kalia. You've changed us. Jace Kalia tilts their head, their hybrid form shimmering as they step, closer to Torrin. We lead together, they say, their voices blending seamlessly, a sound both alien and human. No chains, no shadows. The bond pulses, Jace's stubborn hope, and Kalia's fierce pride driving their words, and they feel the room shift. Eryndari and Earthers watching, a fragile trust taking root. Beyond the bay's glass walls, the crimson sky softens, streaks of purple bleeding in. A new dusk settling over the mirror field. Mira straightens, tucking her datapad under her arm, her voice crisp with purpose. I'm staying, she says, brushing dust from her sleeve. Someone's gotta bridge this mess. Earthers, Eryndari, whatever you two are now. She nods at Jace Kalia, her green eyes glinting with a spark of defiance. You're stuck. With me, hybrid or not. Elias stirs, his green eyes clearing slightly, and his voice rasps out, faint but firm. Jace, he croaks, his hand twitching toward the glass. Jace Kalia freezes, their bond flaring with a jolt. Hope, pain, a thread reconnecting. They lean closer, their silver hand pressing harder against the tube, but Elias's gaze drifts, unfocused, settling on nothing. Where? His words trail off, his breath slowing, and the machines beep softly, a rhythm unbroken but fragile. Torrin's eyes narrow, his storm-deep voice dropping low. The spire's waking, he says, glancing toward the crimson horizon where the Spire of Helix stands, its glass peak glinting faintly. Something's moving inside, since the network fell. He steps back, his silver hands clenching, and the mirror on the console trembles, its etched lines glowing faintly purple. Jace Kalia turns, their blue-gold eyes narrowing, as a distant rumble echoes from the spire, a sound like glass splintering under pressure. The Spire of Helix pierces Erendar's dusk, its glass peak glinting under a sky shifting from crimson to deep violet, a rare stillness settling over the land. A faint hum rises from its base, a pulse that ripples through the air, carrying the sharp scent of molten metal and ozone. Jace Kalia stands atop the spire's highest platform, their hybrid form shimmering, silver skin flecked with human tones, blue-gold eyes glowing softly in the twilight. The wind tugs at their crimson hair, now a shared trait, and their silver hands grip the railing, bending it slightly with a strength born of two souls fused. Below, the mirror fields stretch wide, their iron shards reflecting the new sky, a mosaic of hope and scars. Their hybrid voice speaks, a seamless blend of Jace's rough earther grit and Kalia's gravelly steel. It's quiet now, they say, the sound resonating over the platform, calm but weighted with memory. The bond pulse is strong, Jace's stubborn will and Kalia's fierce pride woven into one, and they feel the world beneath them. Eryndari voices rising in song, earther machines, whirring with purpose. Their silver fingers flex, and a shard of metal from the railing lifts, spinning slowly before them. A dance of power they've mastered together. Mira climbs the platform's ladder, her blonde hair catching the violet light, her green eyes sharp, with a mix of awe and exhaustion. "You two look like gods up here," she says, her voice crisp, cutting through the hum. She leans against the railing, her datapad tucked under her arm, and smirks faintly. "Elias is talking, barely, but he's asking for you, Jace. Doesn't know what you are now, though." Her smirk softens, a rare crack in her armor, and she nods toward the mirror fields. "They're carving mirrors down there. New stories, not control. You did that." Jace Kalia turns, their blue-gold eyes meeting hers, and their hybrid voice hums low. "We lead for them," they say, gesturing to the fields where silver-skinned figures etch patterns into shards, their golden eyes lifted to the spire. No, more chains. The bond flares, a shared vision passing through them. Elias's green eyes clearing, a faint smile, a tie that holds despite the loss of memory. Their silver hand releases the shard, letting it clatter back, and they step closer, to the edge, gazing out. Torin emerges from the shadows below, his pale silver skin streaked with dust, his storm-deep voice carrying up. "The core shards glow brighter now," he says, holding a small crystal, its purple light steady and warm. "Given, not taken. A balance." He climbs to join them, setting the shard on the railing, and its glow reflects in his golden eyes, a quiet pride breaking through his grief. "My sister's name is etched in the fields. She'd approve." Jace Kalia's gaze shifts to the horizon, their hybrid forms steady as the spire's hum grows louder, a vibration rattling the platform. "Something's waking," they say, their voices blending in a harmonic warning, sharp and clear. The bond pulses with unease, Jace's human instinct and Kalia's warrior sense merging, and they feel it. A ripple in the air, a shadow stirring. In the spire's depths, their silver hands flex, bending metal effortlessly, a power they wield as one. But a question lingers. What lies beyond this calm? Mira's datapad beeps, its screen flashing red, and her voice drops, urgent. "I'm picking up signals. Deep in the spire," she says, tapping the screen, her green eyes narrowing. "Not core shards, something older, moving." She steps closer, dust falling from her sleeve, and glances at Jace Kalia. "You broke one thing, might have woken another." Torin's silver hands clench, his storm-deep voice tight. "The mirror feels whisper of it," he says, his golden eyes flicking. To the crystal, its glow flickering faintly. "A shadow that walked before us." He turns to the fields, where the Eryndari pause, their chants faltering, heads lifting to the spire. Jace Kalia's blue-gold eyes narrow, their hybrid gaze piercing the violet dusk as a low rumble shakes the spire. A sound of glass splintering, of something ancient stirring. Beyond the mirror fields, a lone figure moves. Kalia Veyn, his black metal form limping into exile, carving a strange pattern into a shard that pulses with a light not seen before.